Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wolf, and welcome back to my game of the decade. This is Fellowship, the best game I think I've genuinely ever played. That is not Cope. This is genuinely going to become one of my favorite games of all time. So, with that being said, today I want to start an Ultimate Beginner's Guide series because I vastly underestimated the skill differential that people are coming into Fellowship with. I figured this was going to be pulling most of World of Warcraft players, but turns out there is a massive audience of new players to MMO content altogether. And the ultra tryhards you're probably going to wind up queuing with will be gatekeeping the information from you so they can call you a shitter. So, I'm going to give you all that information, so in turn, you can chill on the channel and have a good time. I'm going to try and keep a wholesome Fellowship atmosphere, so if people want to try and make a toxic bullshit vibe with Fellowship, you can find a bit of chill right over here. So, with that being said, we're doing healing in this video. I'm going to do one for all three roles. I did do an Ultimate Beginner's Guide for the game itself. I may do a Beginner's Guide for just combat in general as well in MMOs. But we are going to be covering healing today. So I'm going to be playing Sylvie because Vigor is the equivalent of cock and ball torture. So I am going to be playing the much easier healer of the two, who I also suggest you to start with. Vigor is much harder, although he does have some good stuff. I think he's more of a late game powerhouse than an early game character. From my experience, feel free to argue with me. Vigor stands seem to be very angry people. So, with that being said, let's start, shall we? So, you'll see my UI. Some people say this is a whack UI. Reason for it is the game doesn't give you cooldown trackers or tell me whens, so I turned the entire fucking UI into a tell me when, so that I can see all of my cooldowns, rather than having to peer down at the bottom of my screen. So, when you're playing a healer, there's a few things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to be tracking your CDs, which CD stands for cooldowns. I'm going to go in absolute beginner's angle here. So, tracking your cooldowns, which I'm using via moving my action bars to the side of my screen. So rather than having to keep a look, okay, no, I need to go even simpler. When you're healing, you need to make very hefty use of your eyes, right? When you're DPSing, you can just kind of mongo at things, whereas healing is a more reactive playstyle. If you're DPSing, you're following a rotation, generally, by some turbo tryhard, unless you're just pressing buttons, which most DPS do. But healing is a reactive gameplay style. So you're going to want to be always ready and primed for things to go bad, because the moment they do, that's when you get to shine. So you need to know what your team can do, what you can do, what your buttons do, how to get out of problems quickly, and your get out of jail free card buttons and problem solving buttons. Healers aren't just healers, they're utility, they're problem solvers, they have to be adaptable, and you have to be able to generally know what is coming ahead of time, so then you can prep for it and experiment that way. So, let's start with the basics. In your keybinds, we're gonna, in your settings here, go to input. You're gonna want to keybind select ally 1, select ally 2, select ally 3, and select ally 4. Now, you can also do mouse over targeting. So in this case, if you mouse over the frames and you press a button, it will use a spell for you, just like that. You can heal this way, but I'm not a big fan of this, because notice how my character's moving right now, right? Right? Whereas if I'm doing this, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? I can have control of my character all the time whilst moving and still doing abilities and whatnot. Whereas if you're doing mouse over healing, yes, it works, but you can't character control as smoothly, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 if you can. Now I would set this to 4 keybinds that work for you. You don't necessarily have to copy mine, because some people will use 1 through 4 for DPS and for their action bars and all that shit. I covered my keybinds in a separate video. Some people think my keybinds are psychopathic, whatever. Tie it to yourself, play for yourself, right? So, first things first, targeting, just like so. Now, next thing. This is something that people will probably argue with me on. Using your filler spells, right? I'm exceptionally bad for this, because I am an arena healer. I heal PvP in other MMOs rather than PvE. Fellowship is one of my not first attempts, but like main attempts at actually getting into big PvE healing rather than just PvP. So if you're PvP healing, you do not want to be casting stuff like this all the time, because you'll see I'm sidestepping and fake casting on instinct, because what'll end up happening is if you're PvP healing, you're going to get kicked all the time, so I'm not one for hard casting. I instead prefer to always be ready to react as opposed to being locked in a cast animation and having to cancel it. There's no stop casting or anything like that aside from like raw moving, so you have to kind of do it the hard way. So in regards to healing with Sylvie, what I generally will do is have a flutterfly on each or on 2 targets, and I will have 2 flies available. And then say this guy is the tank, I'll have the blue one on him because the blue one will give you 100% increased healing effects from the flutterfly effects on that target. So in this case, he's going to get extra healing compared to the other guy. And if I use my big heal here, he'll get even more healing. Now, I can cover Sylvie mechanics. Oh, apologies. I can cover Sylvie mechanics, or I can cover healing basics. Now, unfortunately, I can't tab through these guys, but I'll use them as showcase examples. So, what you want to be able to do is map out what your buttons are useful for in regards to how fast you can get out of shit. So, in this case, I have Safe Haven, which will give you 40% increased healing taken. Now, if you use this normally, it's very good for if you're taking AoE damage. You put a fly on everybody, and then you go through, and you pull the blue one back to you, and you'll do increased AoE healing. So in this case, if you were to put your Safe Haven down, if you're taking a lot of AoE pressure, you drop this on top of them, and it will give you increased healing. However, if you use the talent Natural Protector, now you have a Get Out of Jail Free card. This gives you a Giga Absorb Shield on everybody. So now, you have a 4-target oh shit button. Now, the thing about Sylvie, she's mostly passive healing from the Flutterfly Call, and then your active healing comes from the Restore Life, which can take some time to get to a target, because you see that travel time? So they can die during that window, so you need to have an active instant panic button. Now, in Sylvie's case, that's her ulti, where you can just pop this and it will Spirit Link, which Spirit Link is a shaman ability of World of Warcraft, which will evenly divide your health across the entire team. So, what you can then do is you generally don't want to overlap your cooldowns if you can avoid it. So, in this case, my Iron Bark and my Safe Haven will both give an Absorb Shield. So you want to adapt based on what's happening. Is your tank going to do a big singular pull? Then we Iron Bark the tank ahead of time, because the Iron Bark will reduce damage taken, and then it will give the Absorb. And now because you have the Absorb and the reduce damage taken, it will reduce the damage dealt to the Absorb itself. So that'll make things a lot easier for your tank to mass pull. You want to be able to try and look ahead and think ahead for what your tank and your team is going to do. If things start to go very sideways on an AoE scenario, you can drop the Safe Haven as a massive Absorb, and then when you set up an Absorb, you want to try and heal behind it. Kind of hard to do in this case. I guess if I go and I whack the training dummy, is there no auto attack on healers? What the fuck did I learn? Can I, like, get hit? You mind hurting me? No? You fucking... Fine, do it this way then. I'll give it 14 seconds. So, the reason I wanted to try and get hit was to show that what you should be doing is using an Absorb, not so much as like just a shield, it's a damage stop to health bar. Health bars and Absorbs are entirely different resources. If you're healing, this is going to sound weird, but if they're above 1 HP, you're doing your job correctly in certain scenarios. Because all you need to be able to still kill things and still do things, and I learned this in Hearthstone, is one singular pixel. I've made magic pixel comebacks in fighting games. All you need is 1%. Because if you absorb somebody on 1%, then they have a 25k HP barrier to which you can heal behind. So you need to factor for the heal over time as well as the barrier. So you're doing quick math in your head of if I put the absorb shield, and then the absorb shield starts taking damage so I can heal behind the absorb shield. Then the absorb shield comes down. Think of it like playing 2 bars, right? Health bar is down here. Absorb shield puts them up to here. You can heal behind as the absorb shield goes down. And then their health bar is up to here, right? So then that allows you to solve problems and get out of jail. Now, Life Petal, for example, your tranquility that you can cast while moving, is exceptionally good for AoE healing. Alright, so if we wind up in trouble, we can pop this to do big AoE group healing coupled with our spread flies. Or you can instantly get out of trouble by popping your ulti and using the multi-health divider and then using your tranquility, which will then heal everybody. And since it's healing everybody while everybody's split, it'll then overall boost the entire team's health just all at the same time, so that things get a lot easier for you. Now, the other things you can do with Sylvie, like I said, is you put down your fucking vines and you spam your filler. Right? Now, the thing is, if you're sitting here spamming your filler, play DPS. Go play Rhyme. Because if you're healing like this, unless you're talented for it, then, I mean, you're gonna be, like, more focused on spamming these than you are paying attention to the fight. Right? So I would also suggest having your cooldowns or your boss timers in a place you're actually paying attention for them, and your debuff timers in places that you're also paying attention for them. Also watch your allied unit frames, because they'll show when to use Dispels, which is your cure ailment here. Remove all harmful magic effects from target ally. There is an AoE Dispel in a form of a trinket that I would highly, highly, highly suggest that you get and run 24/7. Absolutely the best trinket in the game, going up to +7. I'll make a tier list eventually. So, with that being said, I think I've covered most stuff in regards to basic healing. Couple other things to think about is your threat. So when you're healing, you can sometimes generate a shit ton of threat if you heal too much. Fellowship isn't generally a game that does that, but if you're playing any other MMOs at any point, then that'll be a thing you have to think about. So if you use Hidden Trail here, your movement skill, upon activating it, your threat is reduced by 50% with all enemies. So if you accidentally pull something, what you should do is you should pop this and immediately run over top of your tank. If you end up pulling any extra stuff, make sure to run it immediately over top of your tank. Say Andy's the tank here, because if we're playing with a Mako, for example, she has her Sweeping Wind, the AoE field, which is doing constant perpetual damage. Tanks do 300% threat generation passively. So if you do minus 50% threat on all enemies, and you walk the enemies that are absolutely destroying you to your tank, whose AoE is doing 300% threat, you just have to run the enemies over top of them, and they'll get picked up off of you. So just look something literally like this, and you'll be fine if you wind up butt pulling something or anything along those lines. So, with that being said, let's do a live key. I got all the boys in chat from stream, or in-game from stream. Unfortunately, Restream's down at the moment, so I can't do a stream to YouTube and Twitch, but I am live right now on twitch.tv/Wolfian Reborn. So with that, let's go into a +6. If you want to join any of these keys, there is my Fellowship friend link on the screen. Feel free to add me, or swing by the stream. So, I'm going to live comm the entire dungeon and try and explain everything I'm doing. So, time to chug this fucking monster. Okay, we've got a Hellnut today. So, we're going to put my first Flutterfly on it. And we'll keep control here. So, I'll use my Restore Life to make sure I have both Hots ticking. Hots are heals over time. He put his Absorb Shield up. So in this case, you could sit here and mash your filler, but I want to be able to be reactive, right? So in this case, I'm going to use my Restore Life. I'll put my one Vine up for a little 2% healing bonus. Get another Restore Life in this case. I'll put my Blue Fly on him for bonus healing %. And now he's at 90%, but he has double Hots ticking, so I can just sit here and chill for a second. Put another Vine up. And here I can spam a little filler, so I got nothing better to do. Get him with another Restore, because Restore is both a raw heal and a heal over time. He's at 72% with 2 Hots ticking, so most people will be like, oh shit, I need to heal him. No, he's fine. He is perfectly fine right now, because you'll see 81, 86, 89, like so, right? Resto Druid main. Here, so he's gonna pull big, so we Iron Bark. Now I can heal behind the Iron Bark. See how the shield's going down while his health's going up? Like so. 100% absorb shield. We're balling. Put our little vine up. Let them do their thing. Be reactive. Chill out a little bit. I could spam Nettle Bolts, but they have an Enrage when they get lower. So if they Enrage, they'll start to do a little damage. I prefer to be reactive and ready. You can actually portal across here, by the way. I was realizing earlier, if you have the portal trinket, he's going to pull big, so we're going to walk up and we're going to AoE safe haven here. And we chill. Notice how I'm not stacking my cooldowns. I butt pulled, so we run over the tank, like so. Okay, tank's in trouble, so we stack 2. He pops a potion. Good shit. AoE healing Andy. Let's use my life pedal, because we need to heal all. Absorb my tank for single target. Try not to stack my CDs. I don't think I need to use Cloud Burst yet. I probably shouldn't use WoW terms, but too fucking bad. And there we go. Still have 1 cooldown remaining for the next pull. Ulti's at 64%. Make sure I keep the Flutterfly ticking on him. The Flutterfly heal over time will actually fall off, but you can double stack Restore Life to do a big burst heal. Just make sure to put the 1 fly back on him. Generally, I'll keep 1 fly on the tank and 1 fly on me. However, you can also put 1 fly on yourself and 1 fly on the DPS you keep standing in the fucking fire. Depending on who that is per key. I'd always use a Restore Life so that you have a heal over time ticking on them. You can increase the duration of this as well with a talent, but I got rid of it so that I could have extra value. Insta-dispel, the fire debuff. You saw there the blue debuff. Anything outlined in blue can be dispelled. However, there are certain dungeons that have troll dispels for healers. So this dungeon, I think, or is it this dungeon? Uruk Markets, I think, has Orb of Blood, which you don't want to actually dispel, because Orb of Blood will make it so that your DPS that gets the buff gets 20% increased damage. The gold piles in Silken Hollow you also don't want to dispel, because they give you damage per stack. So if my healer's dispelling my fucking greed debuff, I am big sad. So that is where game knowledge and experience comes in as well. So in this case, we can fill a little here with Nettle Bolts. Our boy's chilling. Give him 1 restore. We're looking good. Now here you could overplay and be like, oh, I need to have a fucking fly on everybody. You're playing wrong. But like, now you've got to fucking unmicro your flies when things start to go bad and yada yada yada. Just play relatively simple, relatively concise, consistently. And we chill. Sylvie is a walking sim if you can do it right. So we got a reasonable pull. I'll Iron Bark here. I have safe haven for if he pulls both packs up here. And we're chilling. We got some fucking, I normally got some fucking jazz on. And we're letting the Flutterflies do all the work for us. See, is he gonna pull 1? He's gonna pull 2. He's gonna pull both, so we just absorb early. And we vibe. Here you can spam your filler, because I have complete control. And that's what healing is really about, just making sure you have complete control over the entire battlefield. It's more of a strategist role than it is healing and or support. So when anyone's like, your HPS is low, it's like, motherfucker, are we alive or are we not? So in this case, we've got Dreadarch in 3. Dreadarch is an AoE. Hopefully the boys will kick it. They do. If they didn't kick that, you would have to AoE heal, to which I would multi-fly. Because in this regard, our man doesn't do much damage. Forked Lightning is a single target tank buster, so we're going to use our damage reduction for that. Which gives him an absorb, and then we can put our heal over times above it. My guy's going to do a galaxy pull here, I would assume. So when he does this galaxy pull, we're going to take a lot of damage, and I have no bursts up. So if things go sideways, I'm going to immediately pop my ulti. Stack 1. He's got absorb.
Defense is the greatest defense.
Dispel. The boys are bursting. Steve's doing 32k like a fucking turbo Chad. Love to see it. The boys are pumping. We could have pulled bigger. Now we be mindful of threats. The next pull will have ball lightning NPCs, depending which path we take. Ball lightning can one-tap your fucking team if you're not careful, but I think the boys are also going to... the boys are going to kick, so... I can also do like a how to heal solo queue ultimate beginner's guide, because some people are going to be like, oh my god, it's because you're playing with a 4-stack. But like, I'll do a solo queue guide as well if you really want to bitch about it. Because my plan was to solo queue heal anyways. I turned the stream on and everyone started to hang out, so... In this case, yeah, we kick ball lightning. We're chilling. But you saw there, I used my damage reduction, so enfeebling root sap makes it so that any enemy that I put it on deals 20% less damage, so I know what enemy to put it on. My guy's lining me, which means he's out of line of sight. My character can't see his character. So, taking some AoE damage here, so I'll put my life pedal up, and we chill. So, line of sight's another big thing to be aware of. So in this case, if I run behind a rock, we get line of sight on our tank. If someone's typing "you're lossing me," which is LOS, then you're line of sighting, which you do not want to do. Line of sighting is a very useful tactic for tanking and controlling mobs. There's a pat behind us, which stands for patrol. These guys do a target redirect, no matter what, so I'm going to do an AoE absorb, because they're probably going to redirect onto me. They are. I'll bark myself. We're chilling. Heal Steve. And then we should be able to just chill, I would assume. Okay, this is going to be a problem. I'm ulting this because this pack fucks. Mushroom everybody. And you'll see here, if I ulti and then put life pedal up, then I'm just thinking about how overpowered it is to have fucking Spirit Link and Trank on the same character. It's so disgusting. I have Spirit Link, Trank, and passive rejuves. This character is illegal, bro, I swear to god. And that's not just because she's a furry icon. Okay, I got 8 shrooms. Carried. Okay, there we go. That is a Stormwatch 6 in time with absolutely 0 problems. And yes, I am playing with a full stack, but like I said, if it's that big of an issue and you guys do want me to do a solo queue guide, I could do a how to heal solo queue when your entire team rages at you. Just gotta keep things under control. Have an understanding of what's coming up. And the more you play, the more you will get better. So for example, you may not have known that Fork Lightning is a tank buster. But once your tank gets busted by it, you'll have an idea. So we do the exact same thing. We Iron Bark the tank buster. Keep our heals ticking. Keep our heal overtime on DPS who needs to tick his health up. Do a single restore on myself. Let that tick out. You can see when the cast is going. So we heal ourselves 1. Dread Arc. They kick Dread Arc. Tank Buster. Absorb the Tank Buster. I'll put a life pedal up so that we can AoE heal. I don't have to adjust my flies because I'm lazy. And there we go. We're chilling. So I covered Dispelling. I covered Line of Sight. I covered cooldown distribution. I'll pop my mana trank to make it feel useful. I covered heals or spread healing, single target healing, get out of jail free, line of sight, multi-targeting. Trying to think what else, if I missed anything. Mana management is something that I guess I should talk about, but still be so fucking easy. I don't have any mana problems with her. But, so, mana management, if you wind up running low on mana, I would suggest letting your Flutterflies passive tick you. I'm getting chunked by Chain Bolt there, so I'm gonna dual heal myself and we're good. So, I have low mana here. for example. So all I do, steep low, and then here I would just pull the fly back to me, and I would just chill like this, unless I had the burst heal. So for mana management, you want to use things that will heal while you're not casting, because you regen mana while you're not doing things. So in regards to this, like I said, I would put the fly on everybody, and then I'd put a life pedal down, and I'd not cast. So that's the other thing is, I don't know if in this game, if you use Nettle Bolt, it interrupts your like mana regen, because in other games, if you're using a spell, like a hard cast spell, your mana regeneration will be halted the moment you start casting. Which means that that's one of the other reasons I'm not fucking Nettle Bolting all the time, is I don't know if it halts my mana regen or not. I should go test it, yes, I'll do it in like 20 fucking seconds here, because I just realized that, but if you're hard casting something, like if you're playing Vigor, for example, and your hard casting is greater heal, your mana regen, I think, will be halted, unless this game is like that, like casual, that your mana regen continues through it all. And the boys are dancing and we're vibing. But that's the other thing. So I would just AoE everybody and then try and use stuff like Life Petal and Cloudburst. Like if I'm low on mana, I'll spend my mana on these two and then I'll chill, because this will do a nice big AoE heal. You can also like ulti Life Petal with all the flies on AoE, and then we chill and we get mana regen conservation as well. So, like I said, I pressed my mana trinket late to make it feel useful, but that is pretty much it. I think I covered pretty much everything. I think I did everything I wanted to do. If I missed anything from more advanced healer players, do leave them in the comments below. And otherwise, that is my Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Healing in Fellowship. I'll probably have to do a solo Q1, because people will still bitch anyways. Take care.